So I'm here at Extreme Connect with
Ethan Banks.
Ethan, and you are with Packet Pushers?
Packet Pushers.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit, for those who are not familiar, what is Packet Pushers?
So Packet Pushers is a podcast network. It started as a single podcast in 2010 about networking. Me and a couple of other friends of mine, we were all CCIEs, started the podcast to talk nerd stuff about networking because there wasn't a podcast that covered that information. So that's grown over the years where now we've got 13 podcasts that are part of a podcast network, all with the same model. Engineers that are talking about the stuff that they do for work because they have deep subject matter knowledge about whatever it is. So we've got shows that cover security and cloud and wireless, for example, and so on.
Awesome. And a little bit more about your history as a network engineer, guru of sorts. What's your path? What was your story?
So we were talking before the show. You're how old?
25.
So when I was about your age, I went to Novell school, Novell Netware. So I had a computer science degree and didn't find a job in programming at that point. Ended up going to Novell Netware school and got a certification as a CNA, Certified Network Administrator. And that began my career in IT stuff. I started doing consulting work, went into the world of Microsoft. I ended up, I did more Novell certs. I did a Microsoft cert, became a Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, and then I discovered Cisco. So there was one of my jobs. I just remember there was this box that said Cisco on it, and that sat on a shelf. And I asked my boss, "What does that thing do?" He's like, "Oh, it connects us to the office downtown." It does? How does that work?
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts, exactly. And I was like so fascinated by this thing, and I started digging in and figuring out that Cisco had this certification program. I got my CCNA, and then over time I got my CCNP, and then CCSP, which at the time was a thing. They're certified security professional, and eventually I became a CCIE. I went all the way through it to do route and switch stuff. And just loved it, love it. Still love networking stuff. But I've been a nerd for a long time, man.
No, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with kids like me, right? Because I like learning on, the shoulders of the giants who kind of came before me, understanding a lot of the history that there is with the networking and compute community, because I feel like a lot of that gets sort of lost in translation with we just see these cool new products at these places, but don't understand a lot of the history and the evolution behind them.
It's funny, we're sitting here at Extreme. There is so much history tied up in that brand, the different products and the way they do things. So it's just really interesting you bring up history because Extreme is such a prime example of history. Anyway.
Yeah, no, we were talking about, Bay Networks, Nortel, some of these, legacy brands we think of are just, huge as far as
Bay was Wellfleet and Synoptics before they were Bay Networks. I mean, again, the lineage goes deep.
It's cool. They even have a connection with DEC, right?
Yeah.
Just
they sure
that legacy name as far as how much contribution they've had to the compute world is really cool to see how it's all tied together. So I know we've seen a lot of great products unveiled here, a lot of cool and interesting new things. They're talking about all of the AI craze, right? That word that, is the buzzword of my generation and really everyone. So what's your opinion on how you think it will affect networking for better, for worse? Some ways that Extreme has been talking about doing that with AI Core. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's start with AI in general. So artificial intelligence has come on the scene in a big way because of large language models. We're talking to ChatGPT, and we're talking to Gemini, and we're talking to Claude, and so on. And getting back data from a model that was trained on the entire internet. And so it has this conception of knowledge as if it knows things. It doesn't. It's autocomplete, basically. It's like glorified autocomplete is what's going on there. That's oversimplified, but that's basically what's happening, right?
The humanistic element is missing.
So the trick with networking is how can we take what a large language model does, add that to other AI techniques that we've been using for years and years now, machine learning and various other statistical analysis and AI techniques that have been working on the numbers to figure things out about what's going on in our networks, add LLMs to the mix, come up with this complex AI stack that allows us to do network operations in a different way. Is that going to change everything? It already is.
Yeah.
So there's a few people I've talked to who have made I think I agree with them at this point, but the argument is NLI, natural language interface, is going to replace the CLI.
Yes.
So people like me grew up on the CLI.
Yep.
And even you at your age, you've been dealing with the CLI, right?
Yes.
Log into the router, type the show commands, and configure
That's how you learn it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what if where we're going is we don't do that anymore? What we talk to instead is some kind of a, whether it's a small language model, large language model, whatever, but a model that's been trained on those commands or on an API that talks to the router or the switch in a different way.
Yeah.
And we say what we want to do in plain English or whatever your native language is. Natural language replaces the command line language. So instead of us having to learn domain-specific language, we need to be able to articulate that we need VLANs with these characteristics and perform this way and have this access list applied, and can articulate that in the form of a prompt rather than typing them out in the form of command line stanzas. Yeah. Are we going there? Yeah. And I think it's more than that because there's a couple other things that happen here. One of the things that sucks about command line is you're going one device at a time. I got to log into switch 1, and then I got to log into switch 2, and then I got to log into the router, and then I got to log into the firewall, and then now finally I have a VPN up or whatever it was I was building. Sure. With a natural language interface that deals with the network as a whole. It doesn't see devices, the individual devices. It does, but we're treating the network as a whole now, as a system. Yeah. Now we could go to that natural language interface, say what we want, and the actions, the commands that need to be pushed down into those devices to bring to life the prompt, the thing that we have asked it to do, is handled for us through the function of artificial intelligence, the way the language, the large language model has been trained, and in the way that specific AI skills in the form of agents, that they have the knowledge required to make those things happen and bring them to life. I think that's where we're going, and we're in the transition phase now. So does that mean we never have to know CLI? I'm not ready to say that yet. Yeah. But,
well, and that's funny too, because that was something they were talking about in their presentation, and I'd love to find a picture of it if I can throw it up. But the I've never seen an org chart quite like the one they showed, where it had the AI sort of now where it fits in the workforce, as far as, does it fit, underneath each stack? Does it go on the side? How is that integrated? How do we actually interface with it? That will be interesting to see how that affects, my daily life as a network engineer, of what that means.
Are you talking about the one from the keynote yesterday where they were talking about all of us managing AI agents doing things for us? Yeah, that. That's really interesting.
Because you're really turning from, there will be no more individual contributors. You are managing specialized agents in that you're kind of actually managing a team now.
That was his theory. Yeah. I know where he's going. Okay, so let me put one caveat here. One of the things that gives me pause, when you're using agents, or when you're using any group of workers to get something done, you as the manager of their group of workers, and in this case we're talking about digital assistants. Yeah. You need to know what to tell them. Sure. And so there's still a specificity of knowledge that you have to have. You still got to understand what the heck you're talking about. What am I asking you to do? Yeah. This is a challenge like with vibe coding. Programmers are talking about, make me a website that does and it didn't work out. As opposed to a programmer who's very sophisticated and understands, I need several different modules that are going to interact together in this way, and I need them to have specific testing that is done in this way. And then they get a result, because they don't have to sit there and type all that code by hand. They allow the large language model that was directed very specifically to build that result for them. And I think it's very much the same with network engineering. You can't bring a network design to life for a business without understanding the business, understanding the technologies that are going to be required to meet that business need, and then have a pretty good handle, because you built it before by hand, of what to tell the agent to do, and then govern them so that they are building the thing that you have asked. If you don't have knowledge, how are you going to do that? I do it well.
And I don't know the org model, how packet pushers, you guys are set up as an org. Us at Unified IT, we've been leveraging AI, right? Everyone leverages AI. It's just kind of part of your stack now, right? Or else you're
I
falling.
use Gemini every day for various things.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not using it, you're falling behind compared to everyone else who's using it and implementing these technologies. And he said something interesting. I don't know what your opinion is. Do you half and 2x, or do you keep the same team size and 10x? Meaning, Would you rather save the cost on an employee headcount basis, which a lot of these orgs are going to have to answer these questions or think about how they want to implement it? Or do you keep the same team size of the really skilled, knowledgeable individuals who know how to do these things by hand and then 10x them with AI, increase the productivity?
It depends on what you're trying to get done. Now with Packet Pushers, because we're full-time as a bunch of creators, we are making things.
Yes.
AI is not great with that, but AI can help us with certain things.
Yep.
Does that replace a person? It can make a person more productive. It can make it shorten their day. It can sweeten the audio for a podcast edit with particular tools. It can generate a thumbnail for a YouTube potentially. It could do that. Can it replace a person? No, it augments a person. I haven't found a use case yet for AI and the kind of work that we do there where it would replace a person. Now, if I go into networking kind of stuff, if I want to build a configuration for VRRP between two routers, I can sit there and crank them all out by hand in my head, or I can say, hey, LLM, I got a router A and a router B, and I need you to write me the configuration standards for the VRRP and do it for me. And it can do it faster than I can. And there's a chance I'm going to get it wrong because I might forget a line. I haven't done it in a while. It's not rolling out. I don't have the muscle memory for it like I used to. The LLM can do it faster. I still needed to know what to ask and what to tell, and I had to describe a little bit of topology so that it could generate those standards.
You're still architecting it. Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't replace me.
No, and I think that's where we've found an especial use for it is when we try to do, garbage in, garbage out, right? You say, hey, give me an idea for a script, a piece of content, right? If you don't have a lot of data to give it of originality, it's going to give you just pre-canned stuff.
I just to follow on that, I have found the more specific and detailed the prompt is, and the more background information you get, definitely the better result you get out of them all. 100%.
Yes, and it still has trouble with the goal sometimes, right? There's that human element of like what you're trying to achieve or run across at the end of it. One thing we've found that has been super helpful is graphics, right? The barrier to entry used to be, did I know After Effects? A lot of the issue is too is someone who you get to design these graphics, VRRP, ISIS, SPBM. I have to tell a graphic designer basically how to become a network engineer and a graphic designer. Now I can just tell Claude, hey, I'm a network engineer. We're talking about this. Make a cool graphic for me.
Yeah, I don't know how long you've been working with the models, but I have found versus 2 years ago, they were so much better. It was so hard to get something usable before. Now in 2026, it's just like, it's amazing the results you get. If you've spent time on a prompt, the first shot is like, that's a really good result. It might only need like a minor tweak.
Yeah, no, I agree. We used to use a lot of it for checking copyright back in the day, and it seemed like, we throw it GPT, Claude, Gemini. GPT seemed to have a little bit better copywriting skills. It was more like that English arts kind of major versus Claude was like the nerd kind of in your face doing some of that stuff. So it's fun too to see where each of their shortcomings are and try and,
Yeah, it's another good point. Different models are better at different things.
100%. And it's cool to see Extreme talk about not AI at the forefront or trying to slap it on top of like EP1 or something like that, but more building the AI core engine and then specializing certain tasks for it to do to get really good at that.
Well, they said a couple of really important things there since you bring that up. So Nabil Bukhari was talking from the stage about the layers, the 4 different layers. The core layer that he said was like, this is the magic. This is where the magic happens. This is our IP. This is the thing that's super important. Well, he was talking about building a knowledge graph so that the model understands how your network is fit together and all the interconnections that network has so that when the model is responding to you, it's doing so with that context in mind, which you can't do with a foundation model. He didn't call them foundation models, whatever his term was.
The frontier models.
The frontier model. Frontier model, that's the word. So that training of a model that is specifically about your network is the thing that is going to give an AI that has been built in a certain way with the right layers and the right stack, like to put it in Extreme's parlance, gives you something that you can work with and that is trustworthy. The other thing Nabil said, if you remember, was if you just ask a frontier model, It'll give you an answer.
Yeah.
And it'll even be confident about it, but it's guessing. And this is another thing. I don't know if you've run into this. If you ever pushed a model really hard on something you know it doesn't know, but you'd be like, oh, that's not right. Try again. Like, oh, you're right. I was wrong. And then it'll give you something else that's also wrong because it doesn't know, but it will never tell you it doesn't know.
No, it never thinks it's wrong. Its ultimate goal is to give you an answer and be confident that it's giving you the right answer.
But with network engineering, we must have a deterministic answer, an answer that we can trust because we put signal in and we expect to get a predictable answer back as a result.
Yes.
And so that's the LLM problems that something like what Novell was talking about with training that AI core part of the stack on your network with that knowledge graph. That's what that's solving in my mind.
Yeah. And the determinism that comes with that is something that we as network engineers expect. We want, right, for our projects. We don't want to.
We don't want it. We must have it.
Exactly.
We have to have it.
We don't want to throw a config in there and then, well, the entire network's down now, right?
Or ask it a troubleshooting problem or ask for some statistics or something, and it's like, the statistics are this or it's that. No, it's a number. I want the number, not a guess.
100% agree. And I'm curious to see how they're going to roll it out. Extremes come with a lot of new updates to EP1, so very curious to see how they do, right? They a lot of talk, but we'll see. We'll see. From this keynote, what's something that you are especially going to be looking forward to coming out of all this, right?
What extremes have been making the most noise about, not just at this show, but in prior months rolling up to this, has been Platform One. So the way they are doing management, and I think there's a piece missing in the way they tell the Platform One story. It has been deeply emphasized about AI, which is important, and that matters.
Sure.
But Platform One is so much more than that. They've been iterating on it very, very quickly, where it is going to be the way you manage your extreme network over time. It's not there today. They said that. They're getting there, but it's not there today.
Yeah.
But the way that they have been adding new features and baking in functionality across the extreme portfolio so that you could do Fabric and you can do all your Wi-Fi onboarding. And I'm trying to remember the list. The features is pretty long.
Yeah.
Still not everything, but pretty extensive. That is the thing that I'm looking for today and then going forward to see how do they keep iterating? How do they truly unify that management UI? And then how many customers migrate over to it? Because that's the next piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Once they do that, now I want to hear about how AI is doing. Because we saw them with the, was it Agent One, the hover thing that was built right in there? I want to see how that is adopted, how that is actually useful versus annoying. I want to see all that stuff too.
We got a cool piece of coverage coming out soon with Sunil, one of the guys working on that over in the EP1 booth, and he was kind of showing us the call it like a junior tech or your coworker, right? AI going away from being something that you're just statically in a chat window to being more proactive with your network, right? We want to see things before they happen and all that.
Huge. It's just
it's great, and as an engineer too. If I have technicians who are working on the network, they can ask a question. They don't have to ask me questions. Everyone is doing their own thing and not having to bug each other for the most part. There's still stuff you need. But
I like the idea of it. Yeah. We'll see. As long as we're getting good answers that actually solve problems, then yes. And the proactive thing. So just one little example here from my past was troubleshooting an application. Long story short, the reason the application was dropping transactions had to do with a failing optic that was part of an Ether channel bundle, and it was only in one direction. And so it was maddening to find this. We didn't find this. And this is the kind of thing that proactive AI should be able to surface and go, hey, in your core switch, in this Ether channel bundle, you've got this optic that's failing. It's starting to drop packets. We're seeing accumulated statistics, signal problems, whatever it is. So that you can replace that thing before you've got people calling you going, my app is sporadically failing. It's a great failure. It's really weird. Most of the time it works, but sometimes it doesn't. We don't think it's us. Is it the network? And you're going, I don't know. So you said proactive. I just wanted to highlight that because that truly is a big deal if we get there as an industry. And if AI gets us there, I'm all for it.
One thing too with their AI and how they're talking about is how deep it's going to be connected. One thing I saw that was really cool was I can open a support ticket with Extreme, and Sunil was kind of explaining is, I can tell it, here's my support file, go grab it, right? Like go to the things that I'm having the problems with and, make the ticket for me, grab the right information I need.
Yeah.
Because, opening a ticket with Dell or HP is like,
With Cisco, I always had to do a show tech, which is 58 outline.
did you try this first? Did you try that first?
That was the next game.
Yeah.
All the rest, showing proof that I did this and I did that and
Yeah.
I did that. It's like, I already did that before I ever called you guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't make me show you. Can we move to the next step?
Yeah. And another thing he hit on too, which was cool, is we're talking about AI and how we use it, right? The fact that they're giving you potentially EP1, we'll have to see how it rolls out, right? But they're talking about pretty much full open API access. So if I want to have Claude or Gemini or GPT or whatever, build me a dashboard that maybe I don't like the way Extreme shows something or I want the deeper insights, I could just build it. Right, I could see it how I want to see it.
I was talking to just based on his name, but we were just talking to him, and he was pointing out that that API is fully there and documented on top of Platform One.
There you go.
So that you can do exactly that. You want to build your own dashboard, and Extreme is part of a much larger networking world that you have.
Yep.
You can integrate all of that in with the API that's open and documented. There's a Swagger interface, and it's right there for you.
Okay. So the pros, anything you're weary about or cautious or you're curious to see how it rolls out?
I'm not cautious to see about how it rolls out, but the Extreme portfolio is too big, in my opinion. The switching portfolio is very large. There are 36 different products.
Yes.
Or product families.
Yes.
Not products, product families, in the switching line, for example. And some of them are, like I say, it has to do with some of that history we're talking about earlier. Acquisitions and some of that. I'm going to guess that a reason a lot of those products are still alive has got to do with legacy customers that came to Extreme because of the acquisitions, and so they're keeping certain product lines alive because of that.
Yep.
So they've got multiple operating systems, multiple switch families.
Yep.
And I believe consolidation is in order. I'd like to see them consolidate around one operating system, ideally.
Yep.
And a smaller number of switches. I don't know what the right number is because they got a lot of switches for a lot of different purposes. And there's a case to be made for that. I still think what they've got currently is too many.
Sure.
The one operating system thing would be a big deal. That is going to be customer disruptive, though. So they need, if they were to choose to do that, they'd have to come up with a migration path to get people to there. And then come up with feature parity. Part of the reason there are multiple families now, as I understand it, is not every feature that's in one OS is also existent in the other OS. And sometimes customers have to choose what direction they want to go, depending on the use case. Okay, that's a thing. That's a thing that they got to deal with. And that's a lot of legacy code and not going to be easy to solve that problem.
And I would like to see them, again, on the consolidation effort, I agree. Too many SKUs. How can we fit that down into a, low, medium, high maybe, or indoor, outdoor, something, you have, and then just choose your density, right? You don't need the one random thing that, again, that one legacy customer had 30 years ago and they're just keeping it around. So I think with the progression too of their universal switching and that platform, hopefully that is going to be more of what we're seeing of you get flavor A, you get flavor B. Pick which one you want, but the hardware is all the same, or maybe it's just flavor B going forward, migrate off A, something like that, where there's a predefined amount of SKUs, they're not drifting too hard. And luckily now that we're hopefully past a lot of the mergers, now they can really focus on, okay, we got everyone in the room, we're in a good spot. What's the 10x? What's the 30x multiplier now that we go from where we are today to, again, thinning that stack out, getting the right technology.
You don't past the acquisitions in the sense that who's left? I mean, there's not that.
That's true.
Most of the people that are left are giants. So it's pretty hard to imagine too many more mergers. The HPE Juniper thing was a surprise to me, honestly, just because of the size of the two organizations. But, geez, you'd hope they could be at that point where if they wanted to consolidate, they could. Yeah, no, I think they're in a prime spot, and just gotta kind of see what they do with it. So, yeah. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? I appreciate your time. No, this has been fun, man. I mean, I just say if like I don't know who all is in your audience, but one of the podcasts that I started that was new in the last year was aimed at people that are newer to the industry, kind of like yourself. N is for networking is the series, and we're covering networking kind of from the ground up. In the first few episodes, we talked about what's a frame,
Yeah.
what's a packet, what are the differences between those two things? Why are things packets? What is going on there?
That's all.
And we worked up through IP addressing, and then talked about like the latest series we did. We did a 3-part series on NAC, network access control.
Yeah, very cool.
And talk through that. And we did 4, maybe 5 parts on OSPF, talking about it as a routing protocol.
Very
And we
awesome.
talk about it not like you're dumb, but like maybe you haven't been here before, and we need to explain what this stupid thing is, why it matters, a little history,
No,
and then
that's
get
awesome.
into how to implement it. So that's all at packetpushers.net. You can find all that stuff and a lot of other podcasts.
Make sure to link that down there, and guys, check out Packet Pusher.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for talking to us. Happy to be here at Extreme Connect. And
Thanks for the invite, man.
yeah,
This is fun.
no problem. Hopefully we can do it some other time. So.